here, Brian Fox, founder of Trusted Herd, but more importantly right now, your host of Trusted Herd Live. We got an awesome show for you. We have made it to 5, episode number 5. Do us a real quick favor. If you've been enjoying these, hit that share button below. Share it to your page, share it to your favorite group.
This one in particular, share this one.
Share this one, and you might have heard this gentleman right here. We have Mr. Matthew Trehub, the founder and CEO of 8 Days a Week. Matthew, hello.
Hello, Brian.
How are you?
Anybody watching? If you are watching today, crazy times. I want to thank you for taking a moment out of your day to pay attention to this. Do you think it's COVID-free? I think we're okay.
I think you're okay.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm thinking about, we're such in a crazy industry, what a crazy time. And I just really appreciate people actually taking a moment to listen to this, and I'm just wishing you well. I feel everybody, and there'll only be so many people right now, but if you're watching this later, a day from now, and hopefully you will, I'm just very thankful, and I really feel everybody's pain. We're at the epicenter of this. We're at the epicenter, and it's just crazy what's going on. I really want you to be safe and sanitize, and now as days and days and days continue, stay sane, breathe, exercise, do what you have to do for your mental health, because this is, we're all feeling this in so many ways. It's a global thing. It's a shared experience. That's the thing. And what were you saying?
No, you got to take care of yourself, right? Take care of numero uno.
I also want to say to my Jewish compadres, happy Passover. Good Yontif, Chag Sameach. I'd like to think we can skip one plague this year. We kind of feel like we've done our dues a little bit. So I got my little yarmulke on. That's kind of cool. You could produce either was a face mask, faux yarmulke, and need be yarmulkes with ear things, especially for bald people. It's actually a pretty good idea. That's another perspective.
It's good multi-use right there.
It is. Yeah, so seriously, I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. We're gonna get through this. Things are gonna change, but likely in a good way in the end. But there's gonna be, it's a bridge from here to there.
Yeah, we're gonna get through this, and the whole idea behind Trusted Herd Live is while we do have this downtime, it's like we all know about these companies, right? We see all the job posts, we see all the names out there, we apply, but we don't know anything about them. And a little bit of silver lining is a lot of owners and founders right now have a little bit of time. So we're able to learn more about the story of how their company came to be, how they got into events, and more about, next time you see that name for a job, it's more than just a name, the backstory behind it. So with that being said, we're not even going to talk about events to begin with. So Matthew, outside of events, outside of 8 days a week, what are your hobbies? What can we find you doing?
You switched gears on me a little bit. What do you find me doing? I mean, right now you can't find me doing much, but trying to do some yoga poses and stretch and a little air each day, and you're speaking about right now. It's great. It's so interesting, Brian, right? Because this whole situation is how do you keep yourself sane? And our industry is just, it's at the epicenter of all this issue. I know and being primarily a staffing agency as it stands, it just went from trending up to the best possible thing, just and as you think about hobbies, what are my hobbies? I'm a concert junkie,
Okay.
I'm a Deadhead. I've seen the Dead over 500 times, as I've told you. I'm really into sports, specifically Boston sports, and yes, I know Brady's in Tampa Bay now, but nonetheless, live music fills my soul. Traveling, I'm an adventurer. I'm a very free spirit, and I think that kind of ties into some things we'll probably end up speaking about entrepreneurship. And those travel and music and sports and people.
Yeah.
I love people, which clearly ties into what I do for a living. Just interacting.
For sure. All right. So I'm going to hit you with 3 rapid fire hot seat questions based on what you just said.
Feeling it already. All right.
Here we go.
All right. Let's do it.
Favorite concert you've been to?
That's tough, man. That's not really a fair question.
Something in like the top 5.
Well, that's much easier. Top 5 concerts I've ever been to. Well, the second concert I ever went to was the Talking Heads.
Okay.
And that is an indelible memory in my brain. I saw the last 4 concerts the Allman Brothers ever played, and the last one was insane. Some festivals.
Do you have a favorite Dead show?
By the way, here's something really quickly. I happened to have been in New York between March 4th and March 11th. Okay. So like right as this whole thing was starting, it was not quite there.
Yeah.
But it was in real time. I was there for a bunch of business meetings, and like I had meetings, and all of a sudden they were turning like, oh, we need to do a virtual. We can't have visitors here. All of a sudden, like I had a meeting with one of my biggest clients. I won't say them by name, I guess, but they're like a huge like festival of concert promoters, and like it was a great meeting. And then like 5 days later, I went back to the same people on like March 11th to talk about something else, and like so much had changed in real time.
Yeah.
It was, and also like everything was really wild. I'm getting a little off topic, but the point I was trying to make was like on March 10th, I happened to go. The Allman Brothers are one of my favorite bands. You know that. I have the guitar, the sign, all that bullshit. I mean, I can swear. It's not HBO.
You can. This is kids.
Yeah, it's HBO. And I went to this 50th anniversary of the Allman Brothers, who was left at Madison Square Garden on March 10th. And all day, like everybody, it hadn't quite, but everybody was wondering, is this concert even going to happen? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And they did do it. And when I was there, and I was in the front row, but it's like you could feel everybody feeling like this concert might be the last concert you see for a long time. People were using Purell. People were like noticing, but it wasn't, and it both made it surreal and added to the energy at the same time. So that was definitely one of the most prominent concerts, but I digress.
No, that's okay.
By the way.
Yes.
What's your favorite concert you ever went to?
This is like the first time in 5 episodes the script has been flipped. I should change it.
I'm interested. You're my friend. People know we're friends because we are friends. I adore Brian.
We are friends. I've gotten to know Matthew really well over the last few years. Great guy. Their office is over in Bucktown here in Chicago. We were thinking about doing it in person. Next time we will do it in person.
By the way, you and I were talking about doing this in person. You'd be in the other room. It'd be kind of funny or remote and yet socially distanced. I was thinking for you, and now I can say it live, so anybody who watches this, it's mine. You do that at times and say like, trusted her like roaming, like buffalo roaming, like a whole roaming thing. Buffalo, you know what I mean? Like trusted her roaming. I think.
What I should have done for this episode is started this Facebook Live on my phone and just started walking towards your office. And by the end, in 45 minutes, I get to your office and I put the phone up and you're waving out the window.
Let's hang up on everybody and try that. I love
that. All right. So
tell me.
Favorite concert is really tough. I would have to say last summer, or maybe it might have been 2 summers ago, I did see Foo Fighters at Wrigley Field, which was pretty awesome.
I was there. Yeah, I was there.
Grohl, what a guy.
Yeah, really good
trainer. Okay. And then let's see here. Second question. Rank for all of our New Englanders out there and our Boston people. I want you to rank your professional sports teams in Boston. Patriots, Bruins, Celtics, and Red Sox.
I do know what that is already, right? So like I grew up on Cape Cod, like lobsters and beaches, and like I grew up catching lobsters and clams. It's a very surreal way to grow up, but you don't know that till you leave. And then I lived downtown Boston for several years in downtown Boston, and I was blocking distance for Fenway. Like the Red Sox are really the heart and soul, right? They are. And I actually, I'm gonna show it, but like I have my ticket stubs in dirt. Like I was actually at games 3 and 4 when the Red Sox actually won the whole World Series after 86 years, broke the curse. Yeah, and I have like the tickets for like really incredible. Patriots definitely second, and then like Bruins, Celtics. Because I grew up playing hockey, so I'm a huge hockey guy. I love sports. I used to be more obsessed with sports. It's funny, like you talk about Boston sports the last like couple decades, right? Growing up, they all sucked. Like people who are watching this, if they're millennials, you don't have any idea like how much they sucked when I was growing up. So when this couple decades of amazingness started happening, when the Red Sox won the World Series, it was like such elation.
Yeah.
Such everything. But then you wake up the next day or the day after, it's like, well, fuck, I still have to go to work. It's not like I made millions of dollars, right? And then the Patriots, and I was at a couple of the Patriots Super Bowls. I went to 3, I saw them in 2. My obsession with sports has chilled a little bit. And maybe because we've won so many things, I've realized it really just is entertainment. My life doesn't change whether they win or lose. I know that's weird, but it's like you get so obsessed with sports, and then it's like, yeah, it's great, but does that make sense?
It does make sense. There are fan bases right now throughout America that are saying, Matthew, I get it. Boston won 20 championships in like the last 5 years.
And we did.
And you did. Luckily, Brad Stevens is not watching this. Otherwise, he'd be calling you right after.
Well, I don't know Brad Stevens is, but I will send him the link to the clip. Oh, Boston strong, baby. Boston. All right, anyways, please.
All right. And then, all right, so we've hit music. We
hit ready for this these questions, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I didn't tell you about these. And then one more thing, because everyone here, I think it's a little bit natural in our industry. People are super outgoing, and people like to travel. People like to get around. Real quick, you just took an absolute epic vacation. Where did you go? What was the highlight?
Man, I wish I was still there. Yeah, I did go on an epic vacation. So I had a pretty prominent birthday, which I won't necessarily share the number of with people, but I did I think a little bit. God, I feel really humbled and fortunate because it's like talking about this right now seems crazy, to be honest. But yes, I went on an amazing adventure. I first flew down to Santiago, Chile, and immediately flew out to a place called Easter Island. They call Rapa Nui. They call it Isla de Pascua in Spanish. It's an island. It's actually the most remote island in the world. If you've ever seen it, it's like a little 13-mile square island in the middle of nowhere with like the moai, which are these stone statues that the Rapa Nuians created out of a volcano that I was actually in the crater walking around. It was so serene. These horses walking around. The tourism is not. I definitely, if you ever get a chance, it's a little expensive to get there because it's like a 6-hour flight. But once you're there, it's super cheap, and it's like there's nothing there except you. It's not big tourism, and these statues, like 800 of them, all over this island. And it was like, And by the way, when I was there and when I was in the next place, what I'm about to tell you about, like no phone, no computer, off the grid.
Yeah.
And like digital detox. So I was there for like a week, and then I flew back to Santiago and immediately went down to Patagonia. There's this thing called Torre del Paine that I'd always been wanting to do, just like trek, because I'm really into the outdoors and mountains and things like that. I did like a 9-day, actually 8-day, because I like saying 8 days, because it really was like 8.5. So like 8-day trek up into the mountains. And the experience, like, it was like me and my 65-pound pack and just trekking poles, like camping, this, that, the other thing, like, again, no phone, like waterfalls and rivers.
Yeah. Sounds incredible. Just amazing.
Yeah, then I went to Cartagena, Colombia, with some friends of mine I know from Colombia, and that was a much different, like, I went from like complete serenity to obviously party mass. So
yeah.
And then I went to Mexico at the end to see the Grateful Dead down there for a few shows. And Yeah, it was transformative in a lot of ways. But of course, when I came back, I knew, it's like any vacation. You take off, you come back, and it's going to be like a big transition, and the transition has been intense, and we've been really growing as a company, and so we've got really, and this whole thing has happened. It's very surreal. That's the best word I have for it. It's like, and we're all sharing it in our own ways. It's you just have to have so much love and faith. You know me, I'm a hippie, right? Like, my soul is, right? Like, I'm a hippie with a job, but it's like, you just have to you just got to keep one day at a time. For me, and I know you didn't ask this question, Brian, but like, for me, and I have ADHD. I don't know if I've told you that before. So it's like, there's a lot of, I'm a very smart guy, but I fly around, right? So the affinity to get anxious is really right there.
Sure.
Like being, meditative and thinking one day at a time, because you can't think about this. The news will just put you, it's a spiral. And then being in events, and mostly primarily staffing, how much I'm learning right now, how much my company's learning about what we can be doing to insulate ourselves from a situation like this next time, right? Because like, it's just like that, gone, right? It's weird. It's weird, and we're gonna come back. We all are collectively, and anyway. So
no, I completely agree with you. And if I was picking up on the words that you were saying, or in between the sentences, I think what you were saying is you're gonna take us all on a trip down to Patagonia right before the event season kicks off, as like our kickoff party. Is that what I heard?
How fun would that be, by the way?
That would be amazing if we could get like this massive trip going down.
Yeah, because once you're there, it doesn't cost anything. You just gotta have it. That'd be kind of fun to do. Is like do like a experiential world, like travel company.
Great. I always see it here.
Not really charge much for fun, but just because people in this industry, I feel like the people who don't do this as a side gig, but the people who are really like entrenched in it, clearly value experience over stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but they definitely value experience. Maybe not over stuff. I value experience over stuff. But like, obviously people who do this for a living, they love to travel. Like all our, we have this group of, our 8 days community that, they travel and they just want to go to the place on their own dime because they want to go to the US. They want to go to Lollapalooza. They want to do these things, and like they factor in the money. And so it's like people. It's actually not the worst concept I've ever heard. By the way, it's kind of like fun.
And it got me thinking. I get all the radio stations here in Chicago, or you get all these like sometimes media companies do like their cruises. Right? Should be like one for experiential marketing. Now cruising. Right?
I was gonna say except for the cruise. Like
right.
If it's not a cruise, I'm totally in.
Not the best. We might be able to get a good deal on a ship, but beside the point. Okay.
By the way, I'm trying to log in on my Facebook to see this because I want to see the chat log too. All right, please continue. I'm listening to you.
Cool. So let's see here. We talked about we hit sports, we hit music, we hit travel, we hit what's going on currently. Let's talk about
Kim Kardashian. Let's talk about the Kardashians. Let's talk about. Yeah, let's talk about what. Go ahead.
All right. So tell me, if I was just to meet you today and I didn't know anything about you, and you go, "Hey, I have this company called 8 Days a Week," how would you explain it to me?
I would explain my company.
Yeah. What would you say?
Do I have to explain the industry or just on the company in particular? Like, the industry. It's funny. Like back in the day, I've been doing my company alone. I mean, I'm aging myself for like nearly 21 years, right? I've been in the industry itself for another 7, whatever, ish, right? And back then, when I would explain what I do for a living, it was such a hard thing to try to. It was very niche.
Yeah.
It was newer, right? People didn't get it until you told them, "Hey, have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen somebody? Oh, you're walking on the streets with this have a Diet Coke." You have to like try all that. People get it now more. People understand it. So the industry itself is clearly a lot more prevalent. How would I say my particular company? If you then understand the industry, what I want to explain and what I want to really be true is I try to, I want to be a community. Like, you know, our core competencies are clearly in staffing. That's where, at least in terms of how we make our money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we put staff out, but the way that my company tries to really differentiate itself from, hundreds of other companies like this. My grandfather owned a meat company called Nepco. They were the purveyors of Fenway Franks to the Red Sox, actually, back in the day. And yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
But one of their taglines was like it's like Nepco made with a little bit of love. Okay. When I think about my company, just who I am as a person, what I want, and the type of thing I do, and I think about this a lot. I kind of just ruminate on like, how do I be different? And there's a lot of ways I think we're different, by the way. But one of them, and maybe the most profound to me, is, my staff. I really try to convey to them, really, really know who these people are. Like, put your light out there, because we want them to put their light out there for us, right? We want their staff to really like not just be another gig, and it is in some ways, because there's so many people who do these things again and again and again, the brand ambassadors, but the people who represent our particular company, like, bring your light.
Yeah.
Like, when you use 8 days, I'd like it to be that why you used 8 days on the field. Like, I know we're going to talk about brand ambassadors later, but that's a big deal to me. Like, I really want people to be, my company, I want it to be collaborative. I want it to be like cooperative. I want to be, altruistic within the confines of a corporate world. I own a small business, but we deal with some of the biggest companies in the world, right?
Yeah.
So like, and I'm very cognizant of the role we're playing and how important that is in terms of like the messaging that goes out to, target audience, whether it's consumers or business or whatever. Like, I want people, like, we spend so much time with so many of our other competitors that are automated. It's apps, it's this, it's automatic this, it's just email. I insist my people be on the phone, be on web chats, be on these things to really like bake in some real humanity.
Yeah.
With authenticity. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I try my company to be. I don't know if I explained your question exactly. I feel like.
No, you did. It's really good, and I think that motto, "Put your light out there." That's there's something to that, right? And it does talk about the human element of what we all do. So I really like it. We should put it on a T-shirt, by the way.
Sure. Hey, by the way, if you guys beat us to market, then the heck with you, because we did that.
Okay, so good oversight of 8 days a week. How about, what were you doing before you got into the event world? What was young Matthew Trehub doing?
Putting his hair in a ponytail. Young Matthew Trehub. I got my degree. I grew up at Cape Cod in Boston. I wanted to try, I already had that adventurous spirit, right? So young. And so I went and moved to California for college. I got my degree, and I thought I wanted to be a psychologist. I got my degree in psychology. My intent was to then go to, whatever next, get my master's, my PhD, and all that crap. I didn't realize it at the time, because I guess I wasn't wise enough to have that level of clarity that, like, as much as I loved psychology as a concept, I didn't think about the fact that, do I really want to be sitting in a room 5 days a week?
Yeah.
8 hours a day, just talking to people about their problems? It sounded all of a sudden suffocating, because I'm kind of, I'm a free spirit, you know me. So I took a year off from college. I moved to Greece. I got this opportunity working for this like Greek rock group concert promoter, super grassroots, right? We were like drive from place to place, from and go to the town or the island, set up the concert with the chairs and the stage and all that crap, drive through the streets, with a little speaker on top of the phone, like "Ella, come see Ana Luisa this week," like in the little Greek that I had learned about promoting the concerts.
Yeah.
Setting up like the wild postings at night for the next day.
Yeah.
And it was so invigorating, right? And I loved it so much. I moved back to America, and well, first I actually started a side company. I was like a DJ. I had a little DJ business, and I did like.
You have a DJ name, Matthew?
I didn't have a DJ name because it's not like this type of DJ. It's like back in the day, like I had the two. Well, it was CDs at least, but it was like 2 CD players, and I had all the coolest shit. I'd go up to Melrose in LA, these little record stores.
Yeah.
Custom Vibrations was the name of the company.
Okay.
And that's what I did. And then a buddy of mine, this is the early 90s, man, right? So invited me up to Portland, guy from college, and he was managing a huge bar and field promotion for Marlboro. And he invited me up there to because I wasn't really doing much.
Yeah.
I was doing bar mitzvahs occasionally with my custom DJ business. To go live with him in Portland, and then I could be on his team as a BA, basically, or as assistant manager, to start doing more promotions for Marlboro and the bars out in the field. It's all in Portland, Oregon, and that's. Then it kind of I could tell you, we're obviously gonna talk about more stuff, but that's what I was doing before then. But I kind of have been his my whole life, for the matter, in marketing, in one form or another.
So
did you do anything before Marketing Works?
I did. When I was living in Denver, Colorado, I got roped into doing off-premise or on-premise stuff for Kronenberg Beer in Newcastle. And so I was a team lead, and I would bring the team around to a couple bars a day. And it was good. It was like great supplemental income, right? Because I was a college student at the time, really enjoyed it. I think this industry is so made for people. If you just enjoy being around people and you can talk to anybody, you can talk to anybody about anything, right? Especially products or services that you're promoting. So in that way, that was kind of, I found a passion for event marketing stuff, doing that program, as small as it is, right? It's
anything, it's everything.
All right, so you go up to Portland, you're doing the Marlboro stuff. I know you're doing a little bit more of the Marlboro stuff. At what point did you go, hey, I think I want to start a company?
I mean, that's a long way from in that, so you're talking about it's several years, right?
Yeah.
So I worked for Marlboro for 3, this is back in the Wild West of Marlboro. I remember they would move me around from city to city. Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, and then spring break markets, regional manager. And I didn't smoke, by the way, through any of that. You know what I mean? It's just ironic because here I am with my jewel. But and then I realized at one point it was the devil's work. I moved on. I got into touring. I was a tour manager, right? For about 3.5 years, I lived on the road out of a suitcase.
Okay.
I worked for VH1 for a while, and and I'm super into rock and roll, so I met some of the coolest. I was in Jimi Hendrix's house where he grew up one day with his dad and his wife hanging out. I was playing horse. I played horse with Joe Cocker backstage at the Gorge in Washington. Some cool stories. Ann Wills, stories. I was Paul Abdul's tour manager on a tour for a while, and just me, her, and 2 dancers, which was crazy story. Anyway, so I did that for and it was, again, such a niche industry in the 90s, right? And so people knew who I was, and I would get job offers all the time. And I, if I was on a gig, I couldn't take it. I started getting tired of living on the road.
Yeah.
And one of the companies I'd worked for, who was in Chicago, because I'm a beach baby, I'm a coastal guy, offered me a job to be director of tours and blah, 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 whatever the heck it was. And I was like, man, that's not the worst idea to get off the road, even though I'm not dying to move to the Midwest. So I moved, but I was like, all right, cool. So I did move here late 90s. And I was at that job for a year. And in that time, I would still get all these offers from other companies. Hey, do you want to do this? And I would say, no, I can't. I got a thing, but how about try this guy? how about try this guy or this girl? Not guy. I'm not trying to get gender specific, but like, and then a couple of them started sending me commissions, you know, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know, like, there weren't that many agencies out there. And so even as I had my main gig, and I was only there a year before, I was like, I can't do this, because I think I have a hard time working for somebody in general. Yeah, I think that's just how my psychological makeup is, you know, such that working for somebody, you know, although right now, you know, it's a crazy time, but like, I need to do things by myself and on my own time. So then it just kind of started happening.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of, you know, we'll keep talking, but that was really what happened. It just kind of came like this, you know, like, you know, retroactively, as I know now, I talk about staffing, you know, God, you know, willing, but like, you know, but like God, but like, that's kind of how it happened a little bit.
That's really cool. And then do you remember who your first client was?
So it's funny you asked that. Not funny you asked, I knew you were gonna ask that, so I'm not trying to be coy. I was thinking about it, and I don't know the very first one, but one that stands out, the first real memory I have, we were working with this company, and actually my first real memory, it was a subcontract from another staffing agency. Okay? And by the way, we don't subcontract, and I really do mean that, because it's a whole other topic, but we don't subcontract because I think we lose our essence. But I digress. But I do remember we had this pretty big opportunity with them to have like 30 people at the Illinois State Fair for like, you know, 7 to 10 days, whatever the heck it was, right? For two different clients, both Lipton Tea, and Charmin. Okay. And so we're down there for like 7 days, and you know, we drove down. It's like a 3-hour drive south to Illinois State Fair, wherever the heck that is. And things are going well. Day 1, day 2, day 3, things are going really well.
Yeah.
Day four, everything was fine at Lipton, but Charmin, it was like literally 97 degrees out. Okay. And I had not one but 2 people, because they were together, of the Charmin team leave, and they were like, you know, screw this. I don't want it. This is crazy. So I go over there, because the Charmin gig was a crappy gig, and basically the whole thing was they had like these Charmin approved, I don't know the exact terminology they used, restrooms where they were all nice and they smelled nice and it was clean. You'd go in. Now, mind you, this is like the state fair, right?
Right. I've been to the Illinois State Fair. I'm like picturing this. It's not by any means of the stretch of the imagination. It is a state fair.
And so I go there with short 2 people. So I was able to pull one of them in my Lipton people, and I paid them more than I even got for the gig.
Yeah.
Right? Helped me go over there, and I was the other person, and we were there swapping back and forth, either being like the Charmin bear costume character walking around with this big bear thing in 97 degrees, right? Or the other was like literally this bathroom, like, yeah, man, wiping down toilets and wiping down this, and you know, making sure the toilet paper was good and intact, and it was hot as heck, and people are eating anything and anything they could put on a stick.
Mm-hmm.
What is that about, by the way? Like pork chop on a stick, marshmallow, marshmallow stick makes sense. Everything's on the stick down this.
Bacon on the stick.
You know, it's a thing. It's a thing. So I remember that really well. We saved the day, and of course we fixed it for the next time. But like that particular event stands out big time.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And Charmin right now, obviously a brand that's probably moving quite a bit of product.
Oh my goodness, my mom, my mother. I think she's watching. I hope she's watching. I was telling her how crazy it was about you can't get paper. You know, I'm still like you can get paper, you can't get this. And she actually wrote me yesterday, just out of the way, she's like, I sent you toilet paper. Usually it costs her to send it to buy, but she's like staying in Richmond with my aunt and uncle, and she actually sent me, I think when I get home, they're gonna be, it's crazy with the toilet paper. Like, I don't know what that's about, by the way.
It is. But you know, there is apparently there is kind of a shortage with personal household toilet paper. because commercial toilet paper
is this toilet paper?
Right, business toilet paper, single ply business toilet paper is
Okay.
there's so much of it right now in office buildings and stadiums and arenas everywhere.
I had to actually pull from my office. Seriously, I did just like go back and like, all right, I'm kind of good. I found a random thing of hand sanitizer in my office. I was like, all right, look, it pays to have something going on. But we can talk toilet paper all day. All day.
We really could. We're on a roll. See what I did there? Did you catch that?
Oh my God, I just did. Thank you for saying. That's actually very clever.
No question.
I had a friend staying with me for a few days, and you know, it's that thing. It's like, I mean, obviously, if you go over, rolling over is the way to go. Rolling under is just weird. But the once you sit the thing on top, it's like.
We should ask that real quick. While for the people that are listening right now, and even because this will play afterwards, and we get a ton of views afterwards.
It's on toilet paper, by the way.
What are you guys a team of? Team roll over or team roll under?
I think roll unders are weird. What are you, by the way? Are you an under or an over?
I'm a roll over kind of guy.
Roll over is the only way to go, dude. Anything less than that, it's just weird at that point.
It is. But
under, it doesn't come off as well. It doesn't feel as fulfilling as it coming over because it's hiding in the back.
I'm with you, but I'm sure there's people, and I don't want to discriminate against the roll under people. I'm sure there's a method to the madness. Next, favorite 2 questions. I really like these. Tell us, where did the name 8 Days a Week Staffing come from?
So, right. So it's actually a pretty cool story. I was driving. So I started kind of off the cuff, very slowly in 1999. And I was driving up on a camping trip up into, I think, Door County or something like that with my then girlfriend, and who actually did help start this a little bit. And we'd driven up there. We're like, what's the name? What should be the name? What should be the name? Like, we're trying to figure it out. Like, it should be like cool, you know, and I, you know, want it to be like catchy. We get up to this camping site, set up, and like, right when we got there, I started like, you know, I set up a fire, cooking a fire, and started cooking, and we're listening to the Beatles. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I love all sorts of music, but you know, certainly rock and roll is high among them, and the Beatles. And all of a sudden, 8 Days a Week comes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm cooking, and I'm like, well, shit. You know, it's like, it's music slanting because my roots are in music, and I wanted to have my soul part of the name. And then it's like, I also wanted to make sure it's something that meant we were constantly doing something, right?
Yeah.
And it comes up, and then I'm like, all right. So, and also it's the Beatles, you know, in my head at the time, I'm like, that might actually resonate with, of course, I'm thinking at the time, like, ooh, vice presidents and CEOs of companies who might be a little bit, and they can appreciate the Beatles. And also, like, you know, an 8 in a directory is going to even come before an A, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I have that going for it. And then, you know, I just love an 8 because it's, you know, you flip it over, it's an infinity sign. And as like, so like, I was like, this, it was kind of a moment.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking through all these different facets of it. And, that, you know, that's where it came from, you know, and a lot of times people, I feel like it really, to this day, people really love the name. It's long, but it's it really does, I think, encapsulate a lot of things at the same time.
That's really cool, especially all the things that go into it. I really like that. How about the logo? Where did that come from?
We've gone through several logos, by the way.
Okay.
And actually, we're, you know, spoiler alert, we're going through a rebranding right now.
You heard it here first. Here we go. I said you heard it here first.
You did hear it first. We're going through rebranding right now. We're just thinking about the future a lot.
Yeah.
And what we want to be and what we believe that we are capable of. But the first, I grabbed this because I wanted to show it to you because I, you know, again, I knew some of these questions you would ask me. When I first started in my apartment, when I first moved to Chicago on Lakeview, I'm on my computer, I made this up so you can see. This was my first logo ever.
Look at that. Look at that sunshine.
I know, right? I just added a little sunshine to it, right?
Yeah.
So that was my first logo ever. And we've gone through a couple logo iterations since then. Now the one we have now, Jennifer, we'll talk about her in a moment. You know, my ex-wife who I used to work with, who, I guess there's no point in not saying it, by the way, who happens right now to be like having a baby as we speak.
Yes. Congratulations to her.
Right?
This is now like the we've only done 5 years. And this is the second episode. We're batting 40%. We're talking about new babies because
that's really funny.
Right? McCall with Norton National had her baby last week. So very cool. Congratulations.
I told Jennifer, I was like, listen, if that woman can like be back up and running in 2 days, like you have no excuse. You know what I mean? Yeah, literally today she's having a baby, so it's really exciting. But like, I'm sorry, what was the question? I got diverted.
No. So this is the current iteration of the logo.
Created it. Yeah, thank you. She kind of created it. I mean, we had a designer put it together.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. I'm really fond of it. There's some things I love our logo because I love it as a person, as an A.
Yeah.
You know, we are going to do some things with it. We're going to probably think more like 8 into infinity and bring like, I really, you know, we'll talk about like the future of my business. It's really about I just really want to create more connectivity in the world and scale out and do something that's going to tap in my, but so 8 days a week is evolving as we speak. The logo is probably going to change.
Yeah.
Maybe 2020 things, you know, things all just came to a halt suddenly with this whole thing, right?
Right. I was thinking about the Atlanta Falcons came out with their new uniforms today, and they always have like these hype videos. I think you should do a hype video for your new rebranding. Like it's you in the uniform, you know, with the lights around you flashing, get the team in there.
I mean, Brian, you know me. I like to be fun. You know, I take my business so seriously.
Yeah.
And life, and I also, you know, I have we have to enjoy and live along the way. So being silly doesn't mean you don't have depth.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like trying to be light, like right now, I'm trying to be silly. Like, do you think I don't feel this right now?
Yeah.
You know, we're in event staffing. Like our income coming to a blip, but like an idea like that, and even this seems fun, and I want to talk about life and things that will just make me be reaffirming. You know what I mean? And so when we do that, maybe we'll have a launch, and I'll invite you. I'll expect you in a uniform next to me. You can put a Trusted Herd logo on the side too. Why not? You know,
I don't have to. I can suit up full uniform, full 8 days a week. No need to do Trusted Herd.
Well, just, you know, like Team Zissou.
Just honored to be a part of it. Cheers. Okay, so we're gonna talk about team. The next question, I got one before. So you did the Charmin and you did Lipton tea. Was there one client in that early part of 8 days a week where you go, hey, I think we're making it, or this is really big right now?
I've had a few moments like that, right? At different levels. The first one that I was really like, okay. We did a promotion in must have been 2004 for Taco Bell, okay? And we were charged with, have you ever heard of Mountain Dew?
Code Red?
Not Code Red. Oh my goodness, that's so embarrassing. I don't remember the name. It's one of their variations. I don't want to get caught like just sitting wondering. Otherwise, it might come up. One of their new sodas, right?
Okay.
And they wanted to sample it at every single Taco Bell in the United States, all 50 states.
Wow.
Over 5,200 of them.
Wow. Okay.
So they hired us, and they charged us not with just the staffing, but like seriously, we did the scheduling and the routing, and you had to ship. We had these kits, right? So they wanted, it's like, God, what was the Mountain Dew thing? Anyway, I feel bad.
Baja Blast? Somebody just.
Yes, thank you. It was Baja Blast. It was Baja Blast.
Nice.
That's helpful, because I would have been sitting in the back of my mind wondering about it. we had to get it into some crazy ass areas, and Alaska and Hawaii. So we had a staff of like about just under 500 people that we'd hired.
Wow.
And we would have them work in this one area for a while, and then we were routing them. We weren't just staffing, we were routing them. Like we're in event marketing, we're like doing everything.
Yeah.
Routing, all right, hey, here's your kit, which is like not just like signage. There was like an inflatable with a motor. There was like a tank that they had to bring to keep the carbonated. They would stand at the drive-throughs.
Yeah.
And so over 2.5 months, it took us like 500 people, over 5,200. And I was like, at that time, I was still working out of my apartment.
Okay.
And we would have as many as up to 10 people coming every day into our apartment, like me and Jennifer, who's my ex-wife, who still works with me at the time we were dating. And then we had this one Chinese screen that they couldn't go back to our like one bedroom and one bathroom.
Yeah.
But every day 10 people would come piling in.
Yeah.
And it was chaos, but it was really beautiful. And I really was like, this is amazing. The other things, just real quickly on things like that, when we first, feel really blessed to have earned American Express business at the US Open Golf, US Open Tennis, which we've done the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Such an enormous client and such, I never take it for granted because it's a really fickle industry. So to have clients for that kind of duration, they can appreciate the fact that this is not a perfect science what we do.
Right.
There's so much inherent vulnerability and X factor, things way beyond my control. Never mind coronavirus type out of control, but like just people. When you deal with people, everybody,
Right.
That a couple of years ago when we earned, it's just like levels, right? It's like levels. It's like we became a partner of Coca-Cola. They had like 40 agencies, and they wanted to consolidate them down to 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And it chose us to be one, which I'm obviously very proud of.
Sure.
And then I think, you talk about levels, like, because I've told you this before, like we do this thing with Google in New York City. And I mentioned specifically because you talk about like tiers of realizing that you have something that really is to stand and, kind of be proud of.
Yeah.
Literally on the building, on the Google headquarters in Chelsea, we do this like grow with Google. It's not active right now, obviously. But they did some thank yous and like they literally sketched our company name on their door.
That's so cool.
Either like my name is on my 8 days a week, our name, because it's not me, obviously it's ours. It's humbling.
Yeah.
Really, so there's been different levels, but yet, right now it's all just like everything's up in the air, right? Anyway, so those are different things I've thought about.
Yeah, no, the journey is something else, and to go from the Charmin Bear at the Illinois State Fair to each one of those levels, right? It means that your company and the people around you are doing right, even in imperfect science. And we're going to talk about the team. I just have like this one little bit of question that wasn't on the pre-list that I gave you. And I wonder if people who are watching this are also thinking about it. How much Taco Bell did you eat in those 2.5 months of the program?
It was really interesting because I did travel a bit to kind of help out. It was a major undertaking, by the way. What kind of question is that? I mean, it's cool being back. It's cool being back and like learning, like seeing them like make chalupas because they would have to get the stuff out of the fountains, right? We get out of the fountains out of their things, and then we have to put it in our thing and then bring it out with the carbonator to keep it carbonated. But that meant we were in the kitchens.
Yeah.
We would watch them like flopping around, chalupas and whatever.
Yeah.
I know, whatever. Right? Like, you're so silly. I'm silly too. I love it. So.
All right. So let's talk about team. For the people that are listening right now, I just want in the comments, by the way, Matthew, everyone who responded, and maybe the unders were a little embarrassed because they didn't want to be the only one. Everyone who responded said they were over for the toilet paper. There
were responses?
There were responses, yeah, over. So anyone who's listening, are you team Taco Bell? Yes or no? Put it in the comments. All right. Speaking of teams, but not Taco Bell, you have an amazing team behind you. Can you tell us a little bit about the team?
I actually, yes, and I'd love to. I'm very fortunate in a lot of ways in life. I love being an entrepreneur. You know, as it relates to a particular industry, you know, I've been doing this a long time, Brian, you know, and it comes with a lot of stuff, you know, being with people is the whole thing. The people I have working for me, and, you know, and this last month, you know, I'm not going to like just sugarcoat it. It's been tough. Like we had to let a couple of people go. People that we will bring back happily because you're great people. It was just a thing. Like I needed to keep my core team, right? And most of my core team has been with me over a decade.
Wow.
You know, like, and more, and then some, 12, 13, 15, 16 years. Like it's real.
Yeah.
And I have so much appreciation for them. Like, you know, and again, I mentioned it earlier, Brian, that, you know, I have a lot of passion for what I do. I'm really good at a lot of things, you know, humbly stated.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have my ADHD, and I'm flowy, you know, and which is one of the beautiful qualities of me. But also, I need people with me who, you know, can be organized and be this, because you know, I'm here.
Yeah.
I have such amazing staff, my core team. You know, Jennifer, my partner, who I don't know if she's had her baby yet. It's happening in real time, like today. I love that it's on the 8th. By the way, I don't know if you paid attention to this, but like I didn't at the time, but we happened to do this on the 8th, you know, of February. Oh, sorry, April. But it's, you know, 8 days a week. It's really kind of beautiful. She actually kind of wanted to have her baby on the 8th, which is kind of cute.
Yeah.
Michelle Illich, Nadine Esquivel, you know, Liz, you know, Ken, who was my bookkeeper, who you know, had suffered the heart attack and stroke so sadly in October, or hasn't been, you know, for a while. But the people who have been, they've been so pro what we're trying to do here. You know, like there's like as we've grown, there's been more and more staffing agencies. Sure. It's more like, so like what is it? Like they understand the essence of what we're trying to do, to like really. There's been times, whether it was when we were just growing and, you know, we didn't have everything that I want to have people in place. Like, you know, I'm really proud we do offer health insurance and, you know, dental and 401k and things that we didn't have back then that we've grown, that they took a job anyway.
Yeah.
We dealt with the 2009 recession and all the crap that went with that and the stress. You know, and on a personal level, I went through a divorce, you know, in the early 14, 15, and they stuck in there. They held it down.
Yeah.
So now it's like in this particular, you know, and obviously it's going to be beyond this, right? Like if we're going to get to the other side of this, we all are.
Of course.
All are, right? Event staffing, you know, and we'll talk about that hopefully still, but it's, who knows, right? Exactly how what's going to, I kind of have some idea of how I think it's going to start to reemerge. But these people, and by the way, another one of them is pregnant too. Like best timing for COVID, by the way. Like, you know, right after the slow season, 2 people pregnant, having babies, I got to do maternity leave, and the summer is like so crazy. You just have to believe, you know what I mean? You just have to believe. But like, I'm so thankful to have such gorgeous souls, recognizing not only just it being a job, but really knowing that we're trying to. I mean, Brian, like again, it sounds. I think it sounds silly when I talk about it, but I really like to talk about it. Like I don't want to just put people on places. I love that we get to give jobs to people.
Yeah. And
I also love the fact that we get this platform, just because of how many humans you deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like, hey, we have this platform to put good energy into the world.
Well, I think it like comes back to this being such a people business, but your mentality is so it radiates from you, right? In everyone that you engage with your clients, with your team, with, and that trickles down to the brand ambassadors that, you know, are working for 8 days a week. But it goes back to how you described, like, this connectivity between all of us, right? And just wanting those positive vibes to flow through everybody, right?
I mean, that's the goal, you know. Like, I don't do the staffing anymore so much, but when I go out into the field and I get to meet the people who do work for us, which I love doing. I love it when I get to do that, because otherwise I'm driving a desk and a lot of the creativity is kind of dissipated. You know, I'm just like running a business and dealing with the BS and all that crap. But when I actually get to be at an event and actually get to be with the people who are working for me, it's very important to me. Like, that essence kind of comes from them. Like, it's like, you know, like BAs in general, and like, again, we're still talking about my staff. Like, they all understand what we're trying to create here. You know, they understand it's like, it's more than just, and I'm so thankful for the brands I work with. And in addition to that, bring that extra, bring yourself, bring your light.
Yeah.
He's got light. You know, we'll talk about BAs in general, but it's like, you know, if I went retroactively, this is what I do for a living for a long time, right? And I'm so thankful for all the opportunities I have. And, you know, I have no regrets. And maybe I would make other decisions in terms of, like, dealing with people. Like, you can't control people. Like we said that before. And that's part of the real difficult part of staffing. But when people are feeling, 8 days a week, and yeah, Nadine, I know her, Michelle, I know her, and I want to do a good job for her, and I know that this is what they're trying to be about, there's a real beautiful part of that, because there's much easier ways to make money. Be a banker, be a this, be a lawyer, be that. You know, it's more linear. This is so everywhere, but because of that, you recognize, you take a step back, and you're like, wow, this is, you know, you can touch a lot of lives here.
Yeah.
In a really beautiful way.
You really.
It's like, you know, what you do with Trusted Herd, it's very similar, you know, like, and you're trying to create a vibe and a beauty within your, you know, your sphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're all connected, right? In a community, a giant community.
We really are.
Yeah. All right. So 17 years, you've done a lot. You've accomplished a lot of levels. What would Matthew Trehub today say to Matthew Trehub 17 years ago at the Illinois State Fair? What would you tell yourself? This is a deep question. By the way.
No, it is. I love shit like this, right? I don't know about Illinois State Fair specifically, but what would I say to my, and
yeah. Right now.
This is part of what I love about what I do, right? Because when I do get to deal with brand ambassadors who are generally in their, you know, early to mid 20s-ish, whatever, right? You know, obviously but that's kind of, when you deal with these millennials, and I wish I had people in my life that could try to give me that same, let me get right to the point. Go for your passions. What do you love? Go for that. Because when you're in your early 20s and you don't have a lot of responsibilities, you know, you have to make your rent. You know, you have your responsibilities, of course, but they do increase over time. You know, I hear your baby in the background. You know, it's like you know, seriously, like, it only gets more complicated as you go on. And when you're younger, you can make those mistakes, but go big.
Right.
You know, I wanted to be I'm really real. I wanted to be a concert promoter. I wanted to do this. And I think about, like, I had an opportunity. I wasn't going to tell this story necessarily, but like, when I was working for Marlboro back in the early mid 90s, I had an opportunity to work for what turned into Live Nation for this concert promoter. And I think I was making like 35 grand at the time. And the job they offered was like 29 grand. And it was such an assault to my senses, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't go for 29,000 because I'm making 35, you know, and counting.
Yeah.
But that was something I would have loved to have done. And who knows where that would have gone, that path, right? And so I'm very happy with my life. But it's like, if you're passionate about something, go there, go there, go there, go there. Because there's always going to be pragmatic jobs. Be less pragmatic when you're younger.
Yeah.
Go for your passions, you know, and like try to find ways to make money within the things you love to do. And I'm in events, so like, you know, there's overlap with what I'll do. Like,
that's really good advice, though. I mean, it is.
I say that to so many people, and I get to talk to people one-on-one. That's what I really love, like, and really give that advice, because you can make those. You can fail, but it's not failure. It's life experience, right?
Right.
And stuff, like, there's not a lot of downtime. You screw up or it doesn't work out. Yeah, you're still in your early 20s or mid 20s or whatever it is. There's jobs out there.
Yeah.
You can be an insurance salesman later. You know, I mean, if you really came down to it. So like, the more you can align with your passions when you're young, and I really advise people to freaking go for that. You know, obviously brand ambassadors, a lot of them are doing that, which I think is really cool. You know, it's the brand ambassadors that are just kind of like professional brand ambassadors, right? Which I'm very thankful for, don't get me wrong. I just want them to not just make ends meet while they have that flexibility to try to do something that really might move them for decades to come. So I was talking to myself.
Yeah, no, that's really good. How about, speaking of brand ambassadors, like, what is 8 days a week? Do you look for a certain type of worker to work with you guys, or to be on the team?
I mean, with all, this is why I love my people, because they do the staffing, they do this. You know, like, I remember when I used to have to staff things and all that personally. I don't really do a lot of staffing anymore, personally. But what I want, you know, is really to echo things I've already said to you. People who, you know, like, what are good qualities? I mean, obviously, like, yeah, outgoing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want people who have, like, you know, who have a good work ethic, who can be punctual. The things that any agency is going to say the same thing in that regard, right? In addition, ideally for me, you know, have a kind heart. You know, be cooperative, be malleable, that like, hey, if we got to move you from the cooler position to the crappier position, you know, like, be cool with it, because events are like a living organism, right?
Yeah.
Things are all changing, like, even within the context of a footprint and an activation, right? All of a sudden, oh, we need the greeters to do this, we need this, or we want to, like, people who are just willing to go boom, 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 because they know it's a part of a greater good, right? And not even just like up here when I was talking with, like, you know, life and love and all that crap, but just even with an activation, things are changing, and you can, but the people that I love working with, and when I get to be in the field and I get to meet them and I can see in their, and I can see their souls, I can see what they're about,
Yeah.
and what they put into work, like, that they'll just, yo, I'll go here, or I'll go here, without much BS and nonsense. That, and then again, obviously, to recognize that you are working for a brand. There's this inverse proportion, right? I see this when I'm selling to clients or whatever. And if there's other agencies watching, I guess so be it. But it's so crazy. You think about, like, you know, one of my clients at Google, right? So you have Google, which is freaking Google. So any activation you do, obviously crazy important to them, right? Because they're spending a lot of money. And then you deal with, you know, and a lot of times there's a marketing company involved, you know, and they're another client, crazy important to them, because they're trusting and they're looking to us as a partner to make sure that this works out and comes to fruition. So then then it's me. And obviously, you know, what, I have a gig with Google. Wow, yay, that's amazing. I'm a small business owner, you know, and so that's great. So then you hire the people. And if it's a longer event, it's great. But like the brand ambassadors who are there, it's like, it's a crazy important lifeline. But then a lot of times it's like just a gig for the brand ambassadors, right? And yet their impression on whether it goes right or wrong is it's disproportionate, because like they have so much weight in terms of whether I did a good job or not.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And yet they, you know, for them, when they make a couple $100 for, you know, whatever it is, and then they're working with 20 agencies, but it's like, they, you know, to recognize that it's a really difficult dynamic to work around, but like, so that's why we really try to instill this community, like that, hey, like this is really, what's going on, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Very almost family oriented, right? Like, hey, we're gonna take care of you, you take care of us, we're all in this together. And it helps everybody, right?
The person, it's like the person who, they don't show, it's like they don't show, it's not a big deal to them, but it's like, here I am sitting in an office in Chicago with this event going on in New York or Seattle, whatever, like that no-show or that bad attitude or the phone looking, it's crazy ripple effect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to get, you get it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think anyone in this industry, at least on the agency side or company side, we've all been there and we've all experienced it, right? And it's, yeah,
sorry.
It's like this gut punch that you're almost you anticipate sometimes, right? And you got to get through it. But
I mean, the thing is, Ryan, like I have to always remember, it's not a perfect science. I'm not selling iPhones, right? It's like we're dealing with people with their own agendas, and everybody's got their own thing. And when I want people to work for me, what I look for is people who will like, please don't take a job from my company if it's just to make a few bucks for like yes, make the money, but recognize there's a lot of lives besides yours that you're affecting, right? The huge companies, but like, we work with the agencies, not even just mine, any agency. We aren't Google, right? We're not Google, right? But I think a lot of people lose sight of that. If I'm being, if I'm being honest a little bit, like they don't think about it, and they don't have to. It's not on them, but like to maybe start to understand you're dealing with levels of companies at varying things, millions of pieces moving, and your work. If we decide, yes, we'd love to have you on this, like please just give it your all that day.
Yeah.
Because it's such like I have lost clients like that because just one random ambassador who I've never met does the weird thing or doesn't not really no show or steals the it's weird. And I've also gained clients like that, and that's and hopefully the clients that you have over time, they recognize that it's not a perfect science, and it's like, how do you deal with these things as an agency?
Yeah.
When the shit goes down, right? Do you respond? Are you there? Are you fixing? Are you? And that's again, that's very important to our company. Not just good vibes, like really just like putting in like we're very hands on. We're much more hands on than most agencies. We're much more hands on. We do things that probably take longer than some agencies who use the app, use the this, because we're baking in that, buy-in from people. So that, I think I'm a little off topic, and I apologize.
No, that's okay. So for the workers that are listening right now and are enjoying and say, hey, that 8 days a week, that sounds like a company I would want to work for. Where would they go? Where would they go right now? Can they just sign up on your website?
Where would they go? They should stay at home. Please don't go anywhere, people. If you're watching this particular thing,
yes,
in general, feel free to shoot me an email. Matthew at 8dayspromotions.com, and like write the subject like, oh, saw you on Trusted Herd thing, and you seem amazing. You better write that part. And we'll put you in a database. We're always looking for good people. This industry is going to turn around. Where are we doing on time, by the way? I'm like curious.
That's okay. That's all right. We're good.
All right. Yeah, we're always looking for amazing people.
Super.
And meeting, I don't usually do that, but like if you happen to come for this particular thing, like I did it for a reason. Because otherwise I could have just talked to you like at the bar downstairs. But like
No.
No, I mean,
Somebody just said they just went to the site and signed up on there. So
there you go.
good stuff.
You can go to the site. It'll lead you to the talent. Go to new talent. But
Yeah.
by the way, for real, if you happen to watch this and you're interested, just hit me up and say, saw you on the Trusted Herd thing. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And if you do happen to watch this, I guess what I will tell you is I will give you a shot right away, because it's hard to get in with us. You know, not only do we have huge expectations, but, you know, we have the people we love.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, we always try to integrate new people.
Yeah.
But obviously you go with what you know a little bit too, right? You know,
right. Of course.
But I do love giving people a chance, because people are always getting into this industry, people are always getting out of this industry. You know, I don't want us to get stale with the same people all the time. I like the idea of, you know, integrating good souls. So if you see this, you haven't worked with us, if you happen to enjoy what I'm saying, email me directly, Matthew starting the thing, and I'll make sure we'll give you a chance. If you screw up, then so be it. Like, you know, but if you do, like, always good to have new people. And I'm, you know, we're gonna get there. I think we're gonna have a slow roll till, you know, the spring of. I think we're all kind of collectively looking at spring of 21. If I'm really being a little honest.
Oh boy.
No, not nothing. There's gonna be stuff. Like, things are gonna open up. People are gonna.
Good.
You know, but we just had, you know. We work with a lot of big events, and they're in the summer. They're still being canceled. Will Lollapalooza happen? Will the US Open? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
There might be like a scaling down and doing different types of things, and it might be, you know, I hope I'm wrong, but at the same time, I hope we're all safe, right? I don't want to be like us as a community, as a world, to put all this time in to be in our homes, to then just be like, we put that quote unquote time in, and it was kind of arbitrary, and then things, you know what I mean? So I think we all just have to hold down, buckle down. We're gonna make it.
Yeah.
And on the other side, events will start occurring. You know, the huge festivals, the huge events, you know, who knows? And it might be getting through the season, getting into the slow season, getting out. And I think I'm just trying to be pragmatic. I'm not trying to be a bummer. Like, I'm you know, just as I think about it, you know?
For sure. And as we sit at home and I come to you from the global quarantine headquarters of Trusted Herd, you know, we're all missing people, and we're all missing interacting, and that stuff's going to come back. Matthew, this has been a lot of fun, a lot of insight. We've learned a lot. Any parting thoughts and wisdom, or anything that maybe we didn't touch on that you want to talk about?
This is fun, by the way.
Yeah.
I've actually been a little nervous this whole time, if I'm being honest. Like, it just, there's not even that many people watching. It's just like trying, like, kind of burying my soul, burying myself in a time that's really kind of crazy and having this kind of time, because I could probably talk another 2 hours and not miss much. That's, you know, weird. It's weird. What would I say? Parting words. I mean, listen, we happen to be doing this right at this particular moment in time, right? So it's what it is, and you know, not just my company. I'm in a Facebook group with like about 12, 15 other agency owners, reputable ones, and we all, you know, we've all been like talking to each other about this time, you know, because what we do in particular, it's just, you know, it's nothing, right? Yeah. So it's like, and then it can become a little disproportionate in my mind about how eviscerated our business, you know, is, and the brand ambassadors out there who are so amazing have no work. We have no work, you know, and I do have employees. You know, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie, you know. And like I said, Jennifer's having a baby. I have another service on a baby that I want to pay for maternity leave, and I still want to keep their health insurance. It's like, you know, no money coming in, but it's gonna end, you know, and we're gonna get through government loans, which will be great. And we're gonna get to the other side, but it's gonna be some work. And I think the real value is in trying not to think, and it's hard for me, especially with having ADHD, to not think up here constantly.
Mm-hmm.
planning. We're spending this time right now. How can we get better? You know, this is something we usually do in the winter months, and we were, but now it's like, how do we get better? How do we improve our systems? How do we improve this in ways that aren't spending money, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, like, because you try to stop the flow. I want to keep, you know, these people who work for me, who are my family and have babies and all that, like, employed. And so my point being, we're all feeling this, and it's like, and then we're all stuck in this place right now where we're in our homes and it's starting to stir crazy. We're gonna get to the other side.
We are.
So thankful for everybody who's worked for me, that's even given us the opportunities that we've had. I'm so proud of, sorry, my phones. I'm so proud of my phones. I'm so proud of the people who work for us and give us that kind of vibe. I really hope that continues to evolve, and I know it will.
Yeah.
We have to keep patient. We have to keep cool. You know, and just, again, it's Passover, so I'm wishing, you know, my Jewish brethren, I'm more of a Jewish Buddhist, I call myself Buddhist, just, you know, take this time to just meditate, relax, one day at a time, and when we get to the other side, when this all starts to come out again, you know, it might be a different kind of world a little bit, because there's no way, and I would ask you this, by the way, like, this is always going to be something that we always kind of think about a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Like, even in the back of our minds, right?
Yeah. It is a life-changing event, right? It is right up there with the biggest life moments that previous generations have had. And, you know, if it was a 1 or 2 week thing, it wouldn't be like that, right? It would be, hey, back to normal, second, third Monday of this month. But it won't be. And, you know, I think what I'm excited about is that typically in moments like this, there is a lot of innovation that happens. There is a lot of new processes or new companies or new things that come out, right? And, you know, here's maybe a little bit of silver lining on that. Those new items or new companies that are coming out now or in the next few months that people attach to, and people start thinking of that brand as, that brand helped me get through this moment. And now I always associate that. If that company grows, they're going to need event marketing, right? They're going to need brand ambassadors. They're going to do events. And, you know, it's, but what you said, right? You can't go up here too much. You just got to take it day by day.
One of my competitors, who's a friend of mine, had said to me, because I was like living in CNN and, you know, he's like, I only watch an hour of news a day, and then I just have to turn it off so I can, like, deal with the micro world.
Yep. Matthew, are you still there? I don't know. Okay. Might have lost Matthew. I don't know if I still have everybody on here, but we will go ahead and wrap it up at this moment. So thank you so much for being part of Trusted Herd Live with Matthew Trehub. You're still here. You're back.
I'm here.
You're there.
I'm here.
Your camera froze for a little bit, but that's okay. So again, want to thank everybody for being a part of Trusted Herd Live today with Matthew Trehub from 8 Days a Week. Such like good insight, good human stuff. Be a real person. We're all going to get through this at the end, and we're going to have lots of events that we can do for 8 days a week. Send them that email, especially if you want to get on the team. And again, I think what was the first sentence that they should start out with, Matthew, in that email?
In the subject, because again, I don't take the new talent a lot, but like, this would be fun if anybody happens to email me, if they happen to see me here.
Yes.
They saw you on Trusted Herd chat. I've been calling it a fireside chat, but by the way, I don't know why that came up from the, like, by the way, and read the 4 agreements, everybody. I don't know if you've ever read that.
I have not.
Never mind staffing. And I hope we get, you know, more and more business will come from this, and I hope we keep growing. been doing this a long, I want to keep growing. Like we were poised for our best year, and this is just what it is. The 4 Agreements, really beautiful book, and really a beautiful, simple way to like. I advise you, even on audio book, you can go to a bookstore, check it out, and know that that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I think people, never mind if you want to work with my company or not, but just, man, let's just be good people. Like there's so much negativity in this world, and it'd be so nice to just keep raising.
Yeah.
And I really think the people who are coming into this generation from their early teens and getting into where they're starting to be people who are 18 and can start working events, those younger people, I feel like they have a good sense of what the world is.
Yeah.
And know that, it's not a perfect world, but not just live in it, but try to grow from it. I don't know. I just wish people a lot of love. And yeah, of course, I want to work with more and more clients. I want to grow my business. And this was fun, Brian.
Yeah.
It was a kick. And I can't wait till I get to see you actually in person, give you a hug. You can't blame me for your wife getting mad that you're having beers with me. I really try to. He scapegoats me all the time. And, just everybody just hang tight as best we all can. Keep yourselves sane, exercise, get fresh air. Wishing a lot of love to people, and hopefully, we'll get there, right?
Yes, we absolutely will.
And not Passover again. And it's a big Jewish holiday, so I wish people have a lovely Seder, whether it's in person or virtual, socially distanced Passover. So,
of course.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much. Seriously, it's fun. This is fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. So everybody who's still watching, will be watching in the future. Again, we're going to be doing one of these every single weekday for the whole month of April. I didn't know.
All right, I'm ready. Let's do
it. Matthew will be back tomorrow.
Every day.
So tomorrow we have Brittany Menestrina with In Vogue Marketing. Friday we have Tinsley and Eric with the Grayscale Agency. And then next week, I'm going to start creating some of the events in the Facebook group that you can say you're attending, so you get the reminder. But we got a whole slate of agencies for next week. So again, this has been a ton of fun.
I'm proud of you, by the way.
What's that?
I'm proud of you, both as a person and entrepreneur. And you're kicking butt. I am. I'm happy for you. You're a good man. Yeah, you're a good man. I love you.
Thank you. Same. I'll catch you.
Seriously.
All right, guys. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.